Coach, you talked Monday, that Coach Heineke had said there was a good lift and there was good energy. Have you seen that on the practice field the last 2 days?
Yeah, I think we saw that, especially Tuesday. We call it Cougs Day around here. It's one of those days you just got to get out here and get after it, and I thought there was a good mentality to it. I thought we strained, had a little bit of a slow start today. I thought as we went, things got better. But, man, you got to put the work in to get the results you want. There's a good opponent that wants to get this win, and we got to have the right mentality.
Just for you guys, kind of talk about the run game a little bit. What do you kind of just see as the secret? Nakia said chemistry yesterday, but what do you kind of see as the key to unlocking that?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. I think we'll take that first and foremost as coaches. Like, we got to want to run the ball. There's got to be an emphasis to it. There's got to be a rhythm to it. But there's also got to be a result base to it that comes from the players. So I think it's a little bit of confidence right now. I think we've gotten a lot of different looks that have set us back, and we can effectively run the ball. Right? We can't be one-dimensional. So there's a physicality to it, there's a mindset to it, but everyone's got to do their job to be successful. So, sometimes this year we've blocked it up and we haven't hit it right. We didn't read the kickouts, or, we missed this one block and we had some things going. So it's been one thing and another, but we got to get it all on the same page to make sure we're rolling through it.
Just any quick update on Link, Coop, and Quinn?
So Link is out here running around. He's getting better by the day. I don't necessarily know if it'll be this week, but I think he's running around. Who else?
Coop and Quinn.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on those two guys. They haven't been really out here just yet, so we'll see kind of how it goes the rest of the days.
Then one more on that for you. Josh Kelly was kind of in and out of the game, but how's he doing?
Yeah, he's out of practice today. I think, working through some pain and stuff, but I anticipate him being ready to go.
With the run game, I'm curious kind of what role John could have in that going forward. I know you guys have used him in some kind of QB keeper packages. What kind of role could he have moving forward?
I think John's always going to have a certain menu of plays. Like a game like last game, we're struggling a little bit. We didn't get quite to his menu of stuff. And he'll always have a bunch of different things. So we'll kind of see what John's package is each week. It's always going to involve some run, some throw, and some 2 QB stuff. So we'll see kind of how it evolves.
Because they were rushing like 3 most of the game the other day. Is that a situation where he could fit in? I'm curious.
Cam's the quarterback, right? He's out there, and it's hard. We kind of condense some things. We only have a certain amount of plays for John, so it isn't like, hey, we know they're going to be in 3 down, and John comes in. I guarantee you they're not going to be in 3 down, right? So there's a lot of different things that go into that, but it's a want-to thing. All right, it's a mentality thing. It's a toughness thing. It's something you can't just talk about. You got to go out there on the field and do it. You got to want to move people. You got to want to move bodies. And you got to want to do it through technique. So there's no excuses. Like, I agree. I want to run the ball more too, right? But we got to make sure we're all taking ownership for our piece of it and go out there and get it done.
With the offensive line, Christian's probably having the best season so far. What are you seeing out of him right now? And I asked Nakia, hey, when you're running behind Christian at the left guard spot, can you tell it? He's like, yeah, I can see more lanes. What are you seeing out of Christian right now on the offensive line?
I like where Christian's at, but I think just like the whole O-line in general, we got to take a step forward and keep getting better. And Christian's one of those guys too. We can never settle. We can never relax. We got to be out here pressing. So I think they've done a good job. Let's take it further, because I think, off of last tape, all 5 of those guys can get better. So it's not singling out one guy doing good things. It's 5 as one. And, I think Christian's one of those guys that's in a good place, but we need more. And he knows that.
So Cam Ward took a lot of the blame on his shoulders from UCLA. How has his maturity of acknowledging his mistakes had an impact on his play and trust with teammates?
Well, I think any good leader, the first step in leadership is when things goes well, you give away the credit. When things don't go well, you take all the blame. And I think he's a good leader, and he's gotten to that point, and he knows that he can play better, and he looks at himself in the mirror first. I think that's really important. And I think the team sees it, and when we all watch it together, we know that it's more than just one player, person, call, coach. It's all of us, and at first it's on the coaches. So let's coach them better. Let's put them in better positions. Let's execute and demand more. That's how you keep taking steps forward as a team.
And then Arizona has played close against 2 of the best teams in the Pac-12. Being within 1 score of UW and USC, what stood out or impressed you the most from their film?
They're a real team. I think people expect them, to maybe not compete with those teams, and I don't know why. All right, they're a real team. They got real players. They got playmakers on both sides of the ball. They're vastly improved at the line of scrimmage, and they're playing with hunger and a passion. You know, if we don't match that, it's not going to go well on Saturday. We got to have our own hunger, our own passion, our own will and want to win and bounce back from a failure, right? So I think they have that, we have that. What's going to happen on game day? Who's going to execute and play with better effort and energy? So I've said it early in the week, really impressed with this team, really impressed with what they've done, and they got playmakers in a lot of position that are playing with confidence. That leads to really positive results, so credit to those guys.
All right, and then last question. How has the receiving room worked to adjust to more aggressive secondary play at the line of scrimmage?
Well, I think you got to be a diverse wide receiver. I think Coach Edwards does a really good job with our release packages. You know, those guys feeling press versus, you know, a guy that's going to pure step and hard jam me versus a motor out versus a bail guy. I mean, they got to see all those different things. I thought UCLA did a good job of changing up their looks. We just couldn't access them either, but I thought they did a pretty good job on the outside defending.
Just want to follow up on something I asked Monday. Any non-freshmen? I know you said you were going to just look into it a little bit.
That question to me, Jamie, was like solving the Rubiks Cube. If I'm going to be honest with you, I was like freshman. I don't see any guys that would do that unless they would injured and get a medical stuff like Lawrence would come to mind. But other than that, no.
So I made you think a little bit. That's what I'm hearing.
You did, and I was like, man, Jamie just wasted a minute of my time. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, it's okay.
With UCLA dropping 8 and rushing 3, do you see that as like a function of like, hey, they're like one of the only teams that can do that because they have this awesome pass rush versus other teams might follow something similar?
Oh, I think you will see a lot of things like that. Arizona has a dollar package with 7 DBs on the field at one time, 3 down linemen, 1 backer. I think expect to see a lot of that, especially against 10 personnel. Wisconsin did 11 personnel, 4 down, 10 personnel, 3 down. There's a lot of people that do those type of things. So we always got to be ready for it and find unique ways to attack it. So I think a lot of people will try to replicate what UCLA did. Obviously, they had a lot of success. I don't know if they all have those guys, right? So there's a blend of that, of what each team needs to do to be successful. But I will tell you what about this Arizona defense. They're playing hard and hungry. They really are. They're playing physical at the line of scrimmage, and they're playing attacking. And that's the way that they play, and they kind of live and die by that, and we got to be ready. But so far, they've had a really efficient defense this season, so we got to be ready to go. All right, guys, go Cougs.